understands, and this is not a biased opinion, we are the tip of the spear in terms of what's happening globally. And we like to show people how what we're doing fits into the global scheme of everything that's going on. And we like to try to enlighten people about that, because if you understand that, you know, the value of what you have your hands on will go through the freaking roof, you guys. There is no bigger deal on the face of the planet right now than showing people in a decentralized environment how to become their own bank, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I want you guys to think about how powerful that is. And if you've never had the opportunity to do so, you know, I would encourage you guys, you know, do your own due diligence. Find out what is the largest industry on the face of the planet. What industry has created the most millionaires? And you're going to find out that it's the financial and the banking industry. And the reason why I'm sharing that with you guys up front is that if you have any inclination of creating massive wealth, not only for yourself, but for those that you know, that you love, okay, you got to play where money lives. You just have to. If you're in the $5 industry, the most you can expect to make is $5. But when you're in a multi-trillion-dollar industry that is being shaken up and reestablished for the people that have the wherewithal, we can literally write our own ticket financially, okay? And so we're going to be talking about some things today as we're getting prepared for 2025. It's going to be all the way live in 2025, as I like to say. We got a major announcement that we're going to be having next week, so you definitely do not want to miss next week's locker room. It's going to be earth-shattering, and I mean that so sincerely in terms of what we have in store for all of our members worldwide. And so what I want to do, you guys, is I want to go ahead and dive right into it. I want to encourage you guys to really take out pen and paper and jot down and take some copious notes. You know, they say what the hand does, the mind remembers. And so it's one thing to take screenshots and things of that nature, but it's a whole nother deal when you're actually writing down and being present in the moment. Okay, you'll just digest the information even more. And so I want to start off by, you know, really making a statement and asking a question, you guys, because in the people-to-people space, there's so many opportunities out here, shiny objects and things of that nature. When I've come to find out, you know, being in this particular business for the last 5.5+ years, is that, as we all heard the saying, that there's people that are watching the game, then there's people that's playing the game, and then there are people that don't even know a game is being played, right? And so I want to ask you guys, and if anyone just, you know, raise your hand, I'll call you out. And I've asked this question before, and the question I want to ask you is, like, you know, when it comes to money, it's a game, right? We live in a capitalistic society. It's really a mixed economy, and we'll talk about that later. But every game has a way that you can win. I don't care if it's football, it has rules to win the game, basketball, chess, Monopoly, cash flow 101, every game, you know, spades, right? Every game has the rules and a way to win. I want to ask people out there, how do you win at the game of capitalism or money? Anyone want to take a stab at that besides people that already probably know that answer that's been around for some time? Just raise your hand and I'll call you out. Anybody take a stab? Really, nobody knows that answer? Okay, let's go with the wealth minister himself.
Outpace inflation.
Outpace inflation. Great answer. Great. Yeah. Well, who else got another? I heard someone else say something.
Be your own bank.
Be your own bank. Yeah, that's an easy way to do it too, for sure. Okay. Here's the answer, you guys, and it's very, very simple. The way in which you win the game of money is to turn earned income, that's the money that you get from your job, into passive residual income as quickly as humanly possible. That's it. That's the answer. It's not to work a job 20, 30, 40+ years and retire off of a third in which you couldn't afford to live off in the first place. See, this is not something that we're taught in our schools and institutions, right? And that's why when people look at various business opportunities, they don't really know how to, you know, look at it in terms of making a real educated decision in terms of it being worthy of your time and effort. The way in which you win at the game of money is to turn earned income into passive residual, not just passive, residual recurring income as quickly as humanly possible. That's it. Now you're able to look at the various ways in which you can do that. You're right. You can be a songwriter or an actor and get royalties, if you will. All right. You can get into real estate, and not just for the flipping of houses, but rental property and do it from that, that vantage point as well, or you can create a business that has a subscription model in it, your own bank, and do it predictably and comfortably as well, if that makes sense to everyone. Okay. And so what I want to do is the reason why I've shared that with you guys is because as we're getting prepared for 2025, and I'm telling you guys, I got goose pimples. 2025 is going to be such an incredible year for many of you on this line. If you're getting yourself prepared right now and you're pinning your ears back and taking life very, very seriously. A lot of you want to get wealthy, but I mean, how many of you truly deep down in the recesses of your being, your soul, where it's non-negotiable, it must happen, want to get wealthy in 2025? Raise your hand so I can see if that's what you really desire to do. Okay. Now, having said that, let me tell you guys something. One of the first things that you're going to have to do is you have to get gut level honest with yourself. Please write that down. Bridget Copeland Harris used to have this saying that she used to say years ago. And she said that when you get real, you get ready to get right. It's time to get real, people. It's not about wishing something's going to happen. It is about getting real. So you have to get real with yourself, getting ready for 2025 to take your life to a whole nother level financially. Okay, that's number one. Number two, you're going to have constant visualization as well. One of the things that I see a lot of people doing is that they have a whole lot of distractions in their life, right? And they don't keep in front of them what they want to have going on in their life. So one of the things that I want to share with you guys is this. One of the best things that you can do, and I'm going to share with you guys my screensaver here. Let me see if I can go here. Is what is it that you really want to have in your life? And I'm going to show you guys this here. This is my screensaver. Okay. This is my screensaver. I may have shared this with you guys before. Okay. That one of the things that I want to do for my wife's 60th birthday, okay, is I want to charter a yacht, okay, for a week to 10 days somewhere in the Mediterranean, Caribbean, and things of that nature. And I want to invite the closest friends, partners, family on that yacht. And so the first thing that I had to do is that I had to go find out how much that costs, right? And so whatever it is that you guys want, and some of you may have heard this before, but I'm telling you guys, it's almost like, whatever you write, the mind remembers. How often do you guys check your phone? And you're going to be pinged every time that you check your phone if you have what is it that you really, and I want you guys to be outrageous about that, all right, in terms of what it is that you desire so that you can have that constant reminder, okay, in terms of what you got to do today in order to move that needle forward in 2025, okay? Now, the reason why I'm saying that to you guys is because of this. What I've come to understand is that people buy different things depending on what category they're in. And so they say the rich buy time. That's what the rich buy. They understand the value of time. So the rich buy time. Poor people buy stuff. So they buy stuff to look rich, to impress people they don't know or even like, And I was there, if you come from humble beginnings, you think the primary role of money is just to buy stuff, right? Because it's marketed to us that way. We want to have the red bottoms, the Birkin bags, all that fly stuff, right? But just buying stuff to impress people that you don't know or even like will keep you poor, right? Ambitious people, they buy skills. Ambitious people buy skills. You guys are ambitious because you're here today, because you're here to learn. I can't tell you guys how much money I spent. When I look back, I was having a conversation with someone, a business partner, just I think it was even yesterday, and I reflected on how in my mid-20s, how I was taking money, rather than taking that money and going to ball games and tricking and all that kind of stuff, that I was going to, I was doing the Zig Ziglar conferences when he was alive. I was Anthony Robbins. I was paying money out of my pocket and time on the weekends to go and get the necessary skills and mindset, that compounded over time, that has myself and some other leaders in a position that we're in today, right? So ambitious people buy skills. Lazy people, they buy distractions. They buy distractions. They're just, Netflix, all binge on Netflix, scroll through social media, trolling and all that kind of stuff, looking for anything to take them away from the pain or that quiet desperation that they're experiencing. Okay? So you have to choose which one you want to be. Do you want to be rich? Right? Then you need to buy time. And how do you win the game of capitalism and money? Turn earned income into passive residual income as quickly as possible so that you have both time and the money to enjoy it. Make sense? So you got to choose. If you're serious about being rich, you have a business that you can buy time with. All right? Stay ambitious. Don't be poor and don't be lazy as we move forward. Okay? And then number 3, you have to know your numbers. You have to know your lifestyle cost. And this is going to be critically important going into 2025. And what I mean by the lifestyle cost, you guys, there was a game that I've shared before. And if you guys haven't played it, it's called Cash Flow 101 by Robert T. Kiyosaki. It's better than Monopoly, okay? Because you'll experience some things that make it feel like it's real life. And so when you play that game, you understand the power of residual income and not just collecting a paycheck. But the reason why I bring that up is because one of the things that he suggested is that you find a group of friends and you play that with them consistently. But then what you do with your friends is you take this balance sheet, this income statement sheet that most people don't know how to fill out, and you put your real numbers in that. And my wife and I, we actually did it, right? So what I'm saying is that this is about being a conscious capitalist, meaning you're not going to get wealthy by luck. You're going to have to really understand what your lifestyle numbers are. And so if it's $4,000 a month, that's your lifestyle number, meaning right now what you're currently bringing home to take care of your monthly overhead, you need to write that down. And then we have a game plan, a blueprint that can show a person with mathematical certainty how to get there. That's the thing that's so exciting about this deal. And I'm gonna really break this thing down for you guys here in just a moment. So know your lifestyle costs and then know your dream lifestyle costs. The reason why I showed you guys that screensaver, because I don't know if you guys saw the amounts, but in order to charter a yacht at the level that we're talking about doing, it's $500,000 to $2.2 million a week, right? Most people will be blown out of the water like that's a pipe dream. No, I'm dead serious about that, right? And I got 5 to 6 years to get that done. Make sense? So there's a lot of money that has to be made on a monthly basis in order to accomplish that. So you guys want to do the exact same thing as well. Why am I sharing this with you, team? Is because I want you guys to understand that if you do these things and you get serious and conscious and purposeful in 2025, based on what we're getting ready to bring to our community and to the world, you're going to be able to make so much money so quickly that you're going to think it is illegal. Okay? But you have to write that stuff down. So let me go on and share my screen. And I'm going to show you guys some stuff here. We're going to really break some things down together so that you guys understand what I'm talking about here. Okay. So it's all about monthly recurring revenue. That's what people don't understand. One of our guiding principles as a global community is that cash flow is more valuable than cash accumulation. Way too many people get caught up in cash accumulation and they don't understand the value of monthly recurring revenue. This will set you free. And we have the perfect business model to do that for the masses. Okay. So MRR, right? A lot of people, they put themselves, because we weren't taught anything about money, we get caught up in cash accumulation and we exchange time for money just to pay bills. And we know that this leads us to economic slavery. We just become wage slaves. And so I want to really, really break down. And I want us to take it beyond the intellect. You know, I'm not talking at you. I want to have a conversation with my peoples. These are my peeps that I'm talking to here. We're doing life together, right? These are conversations that I have with any of my closest friends, right? This is what it's all about. And understanding the difference between price and cost. People know the price of a lot, but don't know the value or cost of very much. So for those people, and I'm not here to knock a job or anything like that, but we all know that most people that have a job, which is an acronym for just over broke, right? When you go and wake up in the morning and you go to that job, I don't care if it's a white collar job, blue collar job, I don't care what your title is, you're literally getting up, taking buckets to that job because you need to fill it up with a paycheck or money. But what most people don't understand is that your buckets have holes in it, meaning even before you get your doggone paycheck, that money is accounted for in the form of residual bills. This is why monthly recurring revenue is so much more value than cash accumulation. Now, you can keep going and accumulating the paycheck if you want to, but what I want to bring to the forefront of your mind is that that money's already spent. So it's like you're trying to run away from your shadow, if that makes sense, right? So something's wrong with that picture. So let me help you guys understand why this is important and why you want to know what your lifestyle cost is, but I want to really break down the difference in price and cost, because this society does such a good job of getting us to focus on the price of everything without really understanding the real cost of it. Now, many of us on the line would say that time is more valuable than money, right? We know that intellectually, but are we behaving that way in the physical realm? Are we behaving that way on the daily? Most people are still behaving as though money is more important than time, right? Because see, you can lose your car keys in your wallet and retrieve those things over and over again. You can always get more money, but when time is gone, it is gone forever, right? So just to give you guys this example here, if a person makes $15 an hour, right, and they have a $400 a month car payment, they're focused on that. And they say, oh, the price is costing me $400 a month. No, it's not. That's the price. The real cost is 27 hours a month of your life that you're never going to be able to get back. See, wage slaves don't understand that. And so they continue to try to accumulate money rather than putting themselves in a position to earn monthly recurring revenue. See, that's how you become smarter than money, right? So how do we come up with that? You just take $400 divided by $15. Whatever you're making right now, I don't care if it's salary, break down what you make an hour, look at all of your expenses, your car payment, mortgage, and all that, and you're going to identify what the real cost is in terms of your life essence, your time. So let's say in this example, your rent or mortgage, now we know that's not true, but I'm just using round numbers, is $1,000. That means that's the price. And most people think that's what it's costing them. No, it's not. It's costing you 67 hours a month of your life. Now, I'm sharing this with you guys is because I use this for myself today. I didn't always know this, but years ago, I figured it out. And I used to just go on shopping sprees and everything like that because I had a poor mentality. Even though I was making money, I was still poor in my mental. Just like a person that wins the lottery, they lose it all because they're poor in their mental. And so now I understand that when I look at something and it's like, okay, even if I can afford it, I'm asking myself, is it worth X amount of hours a month of my life for it? You begin to start thinking like that, I promise you, you're going to start making proper purchases. You're going to start looking at buying more assets than liabilities and stuff. Make sense? So let me help you guys understand what I mean by this, okay? So once again, you can take your own numbers, find out what your hourly wage is. Now, some of you are going to take the time to do this. Others of you are going to say, hey, Greg, that's a great training. Thank you. Woo, wah, wah. I'm telling you guys, do it for yourself. If you're going to get wealthy in 2025, you have to take the time to plan your life out. You have to know your numbers. You have to know your lifestyle costs, right? So that we know what we're going for. So if it's $15 an hour hourly wage, your rent is $1,000 a month, right? Your car payment's $400 a month. And let's say you have your student loan payment is $400 a month. Most people are so focused on that they miss the real cost of it. The real cost, once again, you guys, 67 hours a month of your life, if you're paying $1,000 a month for your rent, 27 months of your life for your car, and 27 months of your life for your student loans, right? So now when you understand that, What would your life be like if you were able to take, I don't know what this is, let's round this off to 70 and let's say this is 50. So let's say 120 hours. What would you do with a free extra 120 hours of your life if you were able to get that because you have monthly recurring revenue coming in, residual cash flow to cover your lifestyle costs? Might you go to the gym if you're out of shape right now, right? Maybe you take on a second language, right? You maybe buy some more assets. See, the whole purpose of why I'm going over this with you guys is because when you look at this, money without time is worthless and time without money is useless. And the way in which you bring both of those things together is monthly recurring residual cash flow. That's the name of the game. That's how you win at the game of money. Period. End of discussion. And now you just have to find the vehicle, right, to help you accomplish that. And we have that. So what we're talking about is budgeting your life, not just your money. It's very, very important. And if you talk to anyone or see anyone that's successful, I'm telling you, they've taken the time. They know their numbers, right? So one of our principles is words talk, numbers scream. You got to know your numbers, right? Another one of our principles is cash flow is more valuable than cash accumulation. And I'm here to tell you guys, as you live, if you haven't figured it out yet, you trust me, you're going to realize that, damn, I wish I would have realized that cash flow is more valuable than cash accumulation. Maybe I wouldn't spend so much time going to back and getting that second, third, and fourth degree just to work a better job, right? You got to understand cash flow. Make sense? So take the time to do this for yourselves, okay? So the financial blueprint, once again, when you know those numbers, and we talked about this last week, but we're going to continue to hit this until you get this tattooed to your soul, because quite frankly, we're making this way too difficult, you guys. Some of us, at least, are making this business way too difficult. This is the lowest hanging fruit I've ever seen in my life. But what makes it challenging is that people don't have enough financial literacy to understand the value of what it is. That's the purpose of today's call, right? So the financial blueprint is this. We want to help people become smarter than money, meaning having their money work for them. So that's when your monthly recurring revenue covers your lifestyle costs or your expenses, right? So that, let's just say if it's $5,000, that's great. Now you're no longer trading hours for dollars. You freed up mental, spiritual, and emotional bandwidth that you were using working a job. Now you have that mental, spiritual, and emotional bandwidth now because you have your time. Now you can start dreaming about what it is that you really, really desire in your life, right? Now that you have some financial relief. So then once you know your lifestyle costs, right? Now you have the financial goal. So if it's $4,000 a month, we can show somebody with mathematical certainty how to get there in 7 weeks. We have a 10-week game plan. That's pure math. It's predictable, all right? And so now, number 3, you're going to build your team. How are you going to do that? You're simply looking for 3 family members, friends, coworkers that know their lifestyle costs, right? And that they want to have that dream outcome of fulfilling that. And we're going to show them the 10-week game plan, and we can show them with mathematical certainty how to do it by becoming their own bank. But it's all predicated on trust. Make sense? So here's how this thing works. We have this income escalator. And so what's required, and everyone's got to get really, really good at this, right, is know your lifestyle costs, know your risk. What's the risk that's involved in this? So let me start off with the lifestyle costs. That's like just your outcome that you want to have, whatever that is, whatever amount of money that is. Number 2, know your risk, right? Most people just want a guarantee in life. And I'm going to share this with you guys. A lot of times people get caught up, and I'm not knocking anybody's hustle, in programs and businesses that you don't have to talk to anyone and you just put your money in because they like the idea of not being rejected, right? That was the risk that was removed off the table, but not understanding how it works underneath. Make sense? The risk over here is $125. right? Number 3, know the time frame for the achievement of that lifestyle cost. I'm going to show you guys what that looks like here in just a second. I want you guys to think about how powerful this is, team, that we can talk to a friend, a coworker, a family member, and show them with mathematical certainty how to become smarter than money, right? And what time frame that they can achieve it. And the only effort and sacrifice required is to identify 3 people that know their lifestyle costs. We can show them for a one-time out-of-pocket of $125 how to get there in a matter of weeks, 10 weeks or less. And the only thing they have to do is find 3 people that want to experience the exact same benefit of having their lifestyle costs covered, because in this environment, they can be their own bank. So what we have is an experience to be had, not a problem to be solved in our environment. We've already solved the problem. The problem is people don't have residual cash flow. So all they have to do is experience the solution that we have in a systematic way. It really is just that simple. And don't allow anyone else to complicate it. If you're talking to people that want to dig their heels in and defend their right to stay broke, let the dead bury the dead. Charles, what I just said to my head and not my heart, but we got to get things going for people. We ain't got time to shuck and jive with people that don't know what they don't know, but think that they know. You look for people whose opinion match your own, that's operating on your same frequency, if that makes sense to everyone. So when you look at the environment that we have here, right, and I'm not going to go through it all, but think about it. If somebody tells you that, well, my lifestyle cost is, $4,000 a month. That's what all my expenses is $4,000 a month. Well, we know that we can help them get there in 7 weeks. So this is week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We can help them get there in 7 weeks. How many people would want to take $125 and turn it into over $4,000 a month in monthly recurring revenue, covering their lifestyle costs, giving them the freedom mentally, spiritually, emotionally, because they're no longer trading hours for dollars, to start dreaming again? And all they have to do is identify 3 people that know their lifestyle costs. So let's say they know what, 3 of their people, they say, well, their lifestyle cost is $10,000 to cover their monthly expenses. Oh, we can show them how to do that in 8 weeks with mathematical certainty. So you guys see how simple this is? The blockchain, artificial intelligence has changed the game, you guys. We don't have to overcomplicate this deal. This is nothing more than math, if that makes sense to everyone. Now, if you have some players, then they say, well, they live on, let's say, the West Coast or the East Coast where the cost of living is high. Well, it's going to cost them 30 to 40 G's a month. No problem. We can show them how to cover their monthly lifestyle costs in 9 weeks with mathematical certainty. Doesn't that feel good? See, that's better than any investment program, because if you put your money into an investment program, you have no control over the outcome. You're just gambling and hoping and praying. What we have our hands on is that we, as a collective cooperative, we have complete control over the velocity of money, meaning how quickly money changes hands in our ecosystem as revenue sharing owners in our environment. Folks, I lose sleep thinking about the power of this. Okay? So get really good at, something that, someone you guys are going to be hearing from that's going to be a part of our community here in the very near future, and he's excited about it. And he's a player in the people-to-people space. One of the things that he was sharing is that the first time that he looked at this particular that co-op, he thought it was just, a susu, right? And the person that shared it with him, who's also a powerhouse, said, no, you need to look at this again because you're missing it. And just on the strength of the relationship, he was able to look at it again, and he started to realize that the only reason why he thought it was like a susu is because all he saw was the marketing strategy of it. Finding 3 who gets 3, and looked at the marketing. But when he looked at it the second time, He saw the utility of it, being your own bank, being able to have access to money without paying interest on the loans. Okay, he started seeing the utility of it. So you got to understand there's three buckets here. Sometimes people, depending on how we're presenting it, they're just seeing the marketing and they just lump it to everything else that they've seen. Also, Susu, another one of those pyramid deals. We got to help them understand that that is just the marketing. This is just how it's done. But other major companies that they're already familiar with done it that way as well. That's why that PayPal video is so powerful. You know, PayPal, that was their marketing strategy to get to 423 million users and $30 billion in revenue. But when people look at PayPal, they don't look at the marketing strategy. They look at the utility of being able to send money, right? So if you're dealing with people that have that challenge, you may have to retweak them and say, I know how you feel because I thought the same way, that it's like these other deals. No, you're just looking at them. That's just our marketing strategy. Do you understand what it means to be a bank here? And this is the utility of it. And then the third bucket is that we're a platform. Everything is going to a platform. If your business is not a platform, you're going to be out of business. Uber's a platform. Airbnb is a platform. Google is a platform, right? They disrupted all of these industries that we're all familiar with. Make sense? So we got three things going for us, you guys, right? We have a very simple marketing approach that major companies have used to build, international, billion-dollar valuated cap companies, right? Then we have the utility of being our own bank and what that represents. And we got to get good at explaining that to people. And then the whole idea that we're moving into a world that it's all about a platform and utilizing the platform, which is nothing but code. Code is now replacing intermediaries, right? And then we're able to leverage that and it's more efficient. It replicates a lot faster and things of that nature. Hopefully this is making sense to you guys that we are different. But the main thing is we get to control this. Isn't that what you want? You don't want to have guesswork on how you're going to be able to build wealth. And everyone is mutually beneficial in this environment as well. So once again, you guys, as we're moving on here, and I got some other things I want to share with you. Let me see what time it is here. Okay. All right, we're doing good. These four principles, please use these principles in all of your decision-making processes when it comes to creating wealth and looking at any type of business, right? Number one, belief being more important than skill. There may be some of you out there that I want you to understand that wealth is your birthright, but maybe you've been beat up from the feet up. Maybe you've been a part of so many different opportunities that didn't pan out. But if you're being gut level honest with yourself, did you give it all that you got? Did you really soak it up? Maybe some of them were rug pullers, right? But some of them were things that you just didn't apply yourself, right? But I'm here to tell you that wealth is everyone's birthright. So you have to believe. And if you have the right belief, guess what? You'll be ambitious enough to get the skill set necessary. System, right? If your plan to create wealth requires luck, which a lot of people are doing, I'm going to throw my money in a 401k. I'm going to throw it in the stock market. I'm going to throw it here and there. And they don't have any understanding of how it really works, right? But they're willing to gamble that away, right? So if it requires luck, it's the wrong plan. When you understand the system that we have here, it's predictable. We get to control it because once again, investing isn't risky. What's risky about investing is not being in control. Here, we get to control it. Make sense? So once you understand the power of our system, our two-step process in our system, then it's just a matter of taking ordinary activities and doing it over a consistent period of time to get extraordinary results. That's it, right? And you don't have to do it one time. Know your numbers. We talked about that already. Know your lifestyle costs, right? Words talk, numbers scream. You can say all day, every day, I want to be wealthy, but if you haven't taken the time to write it down, and you don't have it in front of you, if you don't have a screensaver, if you're not visualizing it, then it's just a pipe dream. And then number four, wealth isn't income. Cash flow is more valuable than cash accumulation, team. All right. And so I wanted to share that with you guys because you can't go over this enough. What we have is so simple to do. Okay. So what we're doing is it's all about recapitalization for the wealth of the people, right? So we're going from the whole idea of centralized profit sharing, top down, right, to top up, revenue sharing, people over profit. There's enough money to go around. They're able to print it out of thin air anyway. So recapitalization is something, and you guys may or may not want to pick up this book. It's kind of heady, but even this book here is called Recapitalization. And it talks about decentralization and the tools and the technology that's there for us to be able to use. Okay. So we're going to be bringing that to you guys next week. Okay. I want to do this real quickly as we shift gears, and we're going to really get ready to wind this thing down. I want to talk to you guys about the real value. We talk about how this fits into the global scheme of everything as well. So in addition to us being able to create a lot of wealth together as a community and do something that's never been done in the people-to-people space, is something also that's even bigger than our individual selves, and that's our sovereignty and our liberty. And there are things that are happening behind the scenes that many people, and maybe even some of you, are not aware of when it comes to being ushered into a cashless society and central bank digital currencies, basically utilizing the blockchain and trying to create central control on the blockchain, which was created for decentralization, right? It was really created for us to be able to take more power and control over our finances. But there's something that's taking place, and we touched on it last week, called central bank digital currencies. So as you guys know, for centuries, we've used the most privacy respecting money system ever known to us, and that's cash. So if you're able to pay someone in cash, no one was able to surveil what you were doing with the cash. And you don't have to be doing anything wrong. It's just our sovereign right and freedom to do as we want with our money. I want you guys to listen to this video here. This is at the Monetary Institute. It's very, very short, but it's going to really speak to the cooperative and decentralization, and in terms of why what we're doing, it's even bigger than our individual selves. All right. We have to become disciples of this information to help our friends and our family, because there's an opportunity, a window of an opportunity for us to sit at the table to shape and mold how the economy could be. And if enough of us awaken to that fact, we can literally create something very, very special. Okay. So let me go ahead and play this for you guys real quick.
How have the central bankers, this is my last slide because my 12 minutes is just up, have reacted to the truth coming out? They admit that they've been telling porkies, and now they propose to increase their power. So central bankers belatedly admit, oh, now that you've mentioned it, yes, banks create the money supply. So let's abolish that now. And also, by the way, let's abolish cash. So what should we do? Well, introduce digital cyber currency that central banks issue and control, and thereby gain total control over all economic transactions, decisions, and the whole lot you've just heard from the CEO of the GDI. So the greatest concentration of central banking power in history is really the bid they're aiming at. That's the central bank's goal. And of course, digital accounts of dissenters and regime critics could be switched off. It'd be very difficult to even purchase necessities. So this is an Orwellian dystopia of total control, the end of any freedoms. That's really what central banks are aiming at. Several central banks have, like the Bank of England, already prepared their microchip implant, RFID chip, to be implanted under your skin. And why is there sudden discussion about universal basic income from all the grassroots and inverted commas movements and billionaires? Oh, universal basic income is the bribe for you to accept the microchip. The overarching trend of the 20th century is concentration of power in the hands of the few. That's what we have to keep in mind. We have to work against this. We don't want to have these unaccountable central planners making decisions. We need decentralization, and the solution therefore is to maintain public money in the hands of local community banks, decentralize decision-making, give local people the power in the form of local public banks and local not-for-profit community banks. As I walked in, I was delighted to see that the Gottlieb Duttweiler Institute is also about Genossenschaften, cooperatives, and of course, The majority of banks in Germany are cooperative banks, and that's really what we need. So,
all right. So I wanted to share that with you guys as well as we wrap this up, you guys. And one of the things that I want to put on the forefront of your mind is that universal basic income with the CBDC, and many of you may not understand this, but during the COVID lockdowns, when they were giving out those stimulus checks, that was kind of like a pilot test, so to speak, for universal basic income. All right. They had never done that before in history. So a lot of things are going to be sold and packaged to us as convenience. You know, you think about how many people are going to be willing to accept, you know, maybe a chip just so they can get a check every month for free, if that makes sense to everyone. Because see, when the product is free, if the product's free, you're the product, if that makes sense to everyone. So it's going to be sold like convenience. And it reminds me of a story that I just came across last week, and it cracked me up. In the story, it talks about this gentleman who created a zoo, and he charged $300 for entry to the zoo, but nobody showed up. And then he lowered the price to $200 for people to come into the zoo. Nobody showed up. He lowered it to $10, still nobody showed up. He then made it free to enter the zoo. It filled up. Everybody came. So what he did was he quietly then just closed the gates, locked the door, and let the lions out, and then charged $500 to get out. Everybody paid. I need for you guys to understand that we don't want to be a part of the zoo, right? We want to stay decentralized. We want to create something that's extremely powerful. We want to maintain sovereignty, and we can do it, if that makes sense to everybody. So I wanted to share that with you guys, and hopefully you guys are able to record